On this Q&A episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, we share a listener story about an instructor leaving a studio and opening up a competing business. To make matters worse, they poached students and used intellectual property from their former employer's website. Mandy and I are breaking down what options this studio owner has, where legal and ethical lines are, and what all of us can learn about protecting ourselves before situations like this happen. We touch on non-compete agreements, boundary setting, and what to do when trust breaks down. Stay tuned. If you're a guitar instructor and you've used one of the dozen or so popular method books, you've probably noticed that gap between what's in the books and what students actually want to learn. Most guitar students want to play their favorite songs, and that means strumming, chord changes, timing. If that stuff is even in those method books, it's usually way in the back. I put together the exercises in complete guitar strumming to cover the foundational concepts that all guitar students need, but in a practical way that applies to their goals, which is playing their favorite songs. For instructors, the book comes with an instructor companion guide that walks you through best practices for teaching. I even have training videos that I've used with my own staff that you can access as well. The guide and the videos are free for anyone who wants to use the book for teaching. If you want to get really deep and understand the origins of the book, you can go listen to episode 50 of this podcast or just head over to rockschoolproprietor.com/book for all the details. Welcome to Rock School Proprietor Podcast. My name is John Kazicki.
And I'm Mandy York.
Big episode today, Mandy.
Yeah.
First, we've got a question. So this is going to be a Q&A episode, and those always seem to go over well. I think because it's real other studio owners sharing their stories, and we're offering best advice we can. So it's Q&A episode. But also, this is our 100th episode.
100. That's wild.
Can you believe it?
No, congratulations. This is great.
Yeah. Other than it being, a big 100 episode milestone, we've been putting in the work, that's 100 episodes, one every week.
Mm-hmm.
Since we started doing this almost 2 years ago.
Almost, yeah.
But I also kind of don't know, all right, well, what do you do with that? It being 100 episodes.
It's a great accomplishment. And it's been a super fun journey, being able to talk with you on a consistent basis on all these things that we're going through in our respective studios. Like you said, we're doing a Q&A today. I love the stories that have been shared. Those are my favorite episodes, the stories that we've heard from other people and shared. And then we've met a lot of people over these last 100 episodes too.
We have. And I guess if we look back on all of the people that we've spoken with, we look back on other Q&A episodes, the information that we've shared, that's a lot of stuff, and hopefully a lot of knowledge that listeners can gain from our conversations, which has been our goal from the very beginning.
Definitely, absolutely.
In part started this because we always have these conversations in real life anyway. We were having, maybe not as frequently. We certainly weren't doing it every week.
Once a week,
we would have conversations like this on a regular basis, kind of offering one another support. And we decided to take it online and share it with the world. And so it's really cool that we've been able to share that much. So now we'll pander for ratings and reviews if people have people have gained any info for it, because we certainly would appreciate it. And I think that helps other studio owners, other instructors find us and share the info so we can make our industry better.
Absolutely.
And 100 episodes. Way to go.
Woohoo.
So on to the question. Should we get into the question?
Yes. I want to hear this story.
Okay. Dear Mandy and John, recently an instructor that was teaching at my school left after being with us for about 8 years. For most of that time, he was great. And I would have said he was one of the most reliable teachers we've ever had. But about 1.5 years ago, things started to change. In his time with us, he became a father and had 2 kids. And with that came a lot of moving parts. I get it because I'm a parent myself, so I understand the challenges of trying to make money and figure out how to balance life as a dad. His schedule requests started to become a real challenge. He'd add an extra day with us, then decide it wasn't working for his family, then want to stop that day. At one point, we were a little desperate to hire, and he agreed to take on more days if I'd pay him at a higher rate. I agreed. Then he decided he didn't want those hours after all. If he found out one student couldn't make it, he'd want us to start calling all of his other students and ask them to change times that day so he could get off work earlier. At one point, he asked for permission to teach some of his own students at his home. He said it would just be some of the neighborhood kids that he knew, and he wouldn't market his services or go after our students. He eventually left, and it wasn't on the best terms. Then I found out he was teaching one of our students at his house. He's now running a competing home studio. If that isn't frustrating enough, he's using photos from our website on his. He's in those photos, and so is a student from a recital. But I own those images. He's also using reviews that parents wrote about our school. His name comes up in those reviews, but the context is our business, and I'm the one who solicited those reviews. He did sign a non-compete when he worked for us. It covered poaching students he met through us and operating a competing business within 5 miles while employed with us. It also specified that he can't take any students that he met through us for 1 year. What would you do?
Bummer.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if this hasn't happened to you before, you've worried about it happening to you, right?
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
has not happened to me, but it's something that I've worried about.
There is a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the poaching the students, or student, I should say, specify, he said one. There's the breaking the non-compete, so there was an agreement, and that has now been broken. There's, the stealing photos. That's like an intellectual property thing, kind of not cool. And the reviews, I guess, fall into a similar realm.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to unpackage all of that.
Yeah, and even the way it kind of unraveled,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
How that was handled, the back and forth and the demands that were made. The studio owner. There's stuff to unpack there too.
So I had a similar experience. It wasn't as serious, I don't think. There wasn't any, to my knowledge, like the stealing of intellectual property. But this was in my very early days of my first music school. And I had an instructor who was working for me. I want to say he was teaching maybe 1 or 2 days a week for me. And we were on good terms. He seemed friendly. I never had any issues with him with scheduling. So that is not similar. But while he was teaching for me, he did decide to open a brick and mortar studio about 5 miles away, maybe 5 to 10 miles away. But it was just a single space studio. It was just a place for him where he could teach students.
Sure.
And again, at the time, he was still teaching for me maybe 1 day a week. And I do remember thinking, on one hand, I felt like it was far enough away that I sort of admired his pursuit of this thing that he wanted to do, right? Because in part, that was what I did. I had this idea. I leased a space and I went for it. And so I remember thinking like, man, can I be upset at him for doing the same thing that I did?
Mm-hmm.
But then I found out that he started teaching one of the students that he was teaching at my studio at his private studio,
His private.
right?
Yeah. Mm.
And that's where I was kind of hemming and hawing, like, what do I do here? I feel like I need to address this in some way. I need to talk to him about this because I'm not sure if he knew that I knew, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say it was like maybe a week or two. I was kind of like, what do I do? And within that time of me trying to figure out what am I going to do with this situation and how am I going to discuss this with this instructor, he put in his notice.
Ah,
Yeah. So
so he did it
problem
for
kind
you.
problem kind of
Mhm.
solved itself. And then honestly I want to say within a year of that transpiring, he ended up closing that little studio anyway,
Mhm.
and it never really was a thing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of beat myself up over it, but in the end, I kind of didn't really need to.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm foreshadowing my advice at all on this one, but possibly. So, what do you think? What do we talk
Well,
about first? Do we talk about the student poaching, or did you have something to say about my
yeah.
story?
Well, no, I mean, I'm kind of starting at the beginning of here, and there's parallels with your story and the listener story, where there were these initially what started to happen was the blurred lines, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm teaching for you, but can I do some of it at my house also? Or I'm teaching for you, John. But I'm also going to do this thing over here down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Or I know it was farther than that. Sorry. And I think when that starts to happen, you kind of have to see the writing on the wall, have like,
Sure.
if this is what your instructor is doing, if they're kind of moving out, trying to do things on their own, maybe take that as your first sign.
Yeah.
Maybe not red flag, maybe yellow flag. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And decide if you're okay with that, and maybe know that this is the beginning of a transition, or hold firmer lines and say like, no, if you're going to teach for me, if you're going to be part of our studio, the way we do things is that you've got to be here
Mm-hmm.
in-house,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think in reading our friend's message here,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I see that the empathy, or I can sort of
Yeah.
sense that empathy. Here is someone whose life has kind of changed, and now there are different responsibilities when you become a parent, and those come with a lot of pressure. And I can see our friend who wrote this message, I can see him trying to be sensitive to that and trying to work in a way that is going to be mutually beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can see, based on the information that we've gotten about this instructor, some of these things feel like maybe they were done out of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, like
He'd
as
been there a long time. He was a star instructor.
well, that, and as much as our studio owner friend here was trying to be accommodating, I, I'm getting that maybe this instructor, the pressure that this instructor was feeling, like, was greater than the studio owner maybe understood.
Mm. Oh,
I don't know.
sure. Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading into it, and I mean, not cool. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
not cool to do these things, but yeah, I'm just trying to see both sides.
Mm-hmm. No, and just like the studio instructor said, I mean, we understand what it's like to have families and to navigate changing situations at home, balance. That's a constant, a constant that we are navigating is balance.
Yes.
So yeah.
But the
Like,
request,
I feel for him.
I do too.
Yeah.
But the request is from our listener friend here who says, "What would you do?"
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the photos first. The photos and reviews, because I think those both fall under that umbrella of intellectual property. There might be some differences between like the photos and the reviews. Now, those photos are copyrighted. Assuming that those are on our listener friend here's website, as soon as he puts those on the website, those are his, he's copyrighted those. Those are his property. So for someone to then take those and use them, that's not okay. That is not legally okay. So I think if he wants to pursue any sort of like retribution or try and remedy this, he's got to document it. He's got to document like, hey, here's this photo. Here's the timestamp of when I added it to my website. And then, hey, here's this other version of this photo that's now being used by someone else claiming it's theirs. That's going to prove that, yes, it is his. Now, there is this, I had to look this up because I knew you could do this. I know you can submit to, like, if this is being used on this competitor's website, what you can do is, and this is a little sneaky, I admit it, but what you can do is you can contact the hosting service of that website and say, hey, this photo that's being used is my intellectual property and it's being used on a website that is hosted by your service. So it's called a DMCA takedown request. So DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And what it does is it compels that service provider to remove any infringing content to avoid liability because they're hosting this website so they can be liable as well. Now, that's the legal stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure you could go even harder if you wanted to, but then you're getting into lawyers and, maybe like the less aggressive would be an email to this person. Hey, I noticed you're using this photo and that's, property of my music school. I'd like you to take it down.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, according to our friend here, that photo is of that instructor. So that person, that former instructor, could very, very easily then come back and say like, oh yeah, well, you're using my image on your website and I want you to take that down. So, so what do we do? Right? It's like a stalemate.
Yeah, that is tricky.
And I think the same could probably be said for the review. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe not. That might be stickier.
Yeah, that seems like more deceitful to me, the review, because someone reviewed the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had to go to like the Google business, right? Of that specific school.
Yeah. Well, and it's not clear. It's not clear in the letter here or the email if that review is on the Google My Business page or if it's being used on the school website or where that is.
Sure.
And I think it says, it's in the email, it says that this instructor's name comes up in the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's kind of this gray area, right?
Yeah.
And again, not clear if it's using first and last name or if it's just first name, but yeah, it's sticky.
It is really sticky. Oh, but the studio owner, like, he earned that. He
Mhm.
he earned that review, and he, either took the time to take those photographs or hired someone to take those photographs.
Sure.
To have someone else just take them,
Mhm.
like, that's not cool. That's not okay.
It is not. No.
I feel like I would email. I really do. I feel
Yeah.
like I would. Mhm. Yep.
How would you do it?
Um
Would you go in hard and just be like, "Look, you are infringing on my intellectual property, and I need you to stop, and if you don't, I'm gonna get lawyers involved," would you do that?
No, I would probably be nice about it, and
I knew you wouldn't be mean
and then
about it because I know you.
I know. Well, I'm just thinking, I'm like, and then per our last episode, like,
Yeah.
I would make the other person mad and they would give me a bad review on Google, even though I'm being nice. I probably would be nice about it. Like, and I think that's how you should approach this whole situation. Like,
Mhm.
don't get into it. Don't start, you know, conflict or a grudge or whatever. Hey, man, wish you the best of luck kind of thing. But I
Yeah.
do notice you're using these. That is copyrighted material. And, I need you to take it down. I would
Yeah.
probably be kind of like very straightforward in my language. Like, if you wouldn't mind, do you think it would be okay if you took it
Mhm.
down?
Yeah.
I would be like, this is what it is. Need you to take it down. But again, like, best of luck to you. I do wish you all luck. I don't want any hard feelings, but
Yeah.
it's a little black and white to me, particularly with the photograph. I
Mhm.
don't know. You have photographers come in all the time. They're taking pictures of your instructors at
Yep.
concerts.
Mhm.
I like kind of putting myself in your shoes and the images that I know that I've seen of your school. That's a hard no for me if they
Mhm.
took images from you and put them up for their own school.
Yeah. Okay. I think I tend to agree that if the route is approaching this former instructor and about the photos and the reviews, I agree with
Mhm.
you. Hey, I wish you the best. I really do. I'm sorry things ended the way they did, but I'm going to ask that, you know, you take these down because they are like my property. And maybe not worded that way. But again, I'm trying to put myself in that former instructor's shoes. And if that photo is like, if it's me, if I'm that instructor and it's a photo of me, I'd be like, it's a picture of me. You take it down off your website. So then does it escalate?
Yeah, but it really depends on the photo, right?
Hmm.
Again, if I'm thinking about your photos or my photos, I hire photographers too. They're representative of what my space looks like,
Hmm.
right? Or in your case, the stage, the setting, the concert venue. I I get photo releases from everyone. I guess if he asks you to take the photo down, I wouldn't argue with him about it,
I
but
think
I
he has
also
to
wouldn't
be.
let him use it. But
I
I
think
wouldn't let him
yeah.
use it either.
I think he has to be prepared for that as
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
as a possible retort. If
Mhm.
if he does say, "Hey, take this photo down," that the former instructor will then say, "Well, you take it down too." You
Mhm.
know, I
Yeah.
think he has to expect that. So, what about the what about the poaching student? What about
Mm.
the non-compete? Because it, this is where, if it's almost like if he engages in one area, because everything is so tied together, will all this other stuff also come out and also come into play,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We can debate back and forth about a photo and a review, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a photo and a review. It's not that big a deal, but the lost student, that's worth
Mhm.
real money. What about that?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about this a little bit differently than you are. I
Okay.
mean, it is clearly the student, yes, that's a loss of money, that's loss of student. I'm I'm thinking about, like, the photo very black and white, like, "No, this is my property. You
Hmm.
can't take it." I think, like, it sucks that he lost a student, but I might treat this as, like, just as any other competition moving into town,
Mm.
which we've discussed in the past, we've discussed on episodes, right? Like,
Even though it breaks the contract?
well, so that's a whole other thing, right? I don't know about these non-compete contracts, right? Like, how enforceable are
They are
they?
hard to enforce. Yeah.
So, uh, I mean, I have something in my agreement too, but to be totally honest, I I'm not gonna go after anybody. I
Well,
just want to have the conversation and be clear upfront about my expectations
yeah.
and hope that you're the kind of person that will uphold this bargain. I don't know. Mm,
Yeah, because then if you do pursue that, you're talking like it's legal action if you're
yeah.
trying to enforce this, right? And
Mhm.
then you're hiring a lawyer.
Yep. I know.
How much is that worth?
Mhm. These are the things you have to think about, and it depends on your situation. Maybe in your situation, it is worth it.
Mhm.
In my situation, it wouldn't be, as I was saying, like, I kind of would treat this as someone else moving into town, which hurts. It makes you
Mhm.
real tense at the beginning, but as we've discussed before, you just have to focus on you and what you do best, and, like, in your story, your competition didn't it kind of fizzled, right?
Mhm.
He's teaching out of his home, and this listener, I think I'm right, like, this listener has a brick and mortar, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Those are very different things. Uh, I think you just buckle down and do what you do
Yeah.
best, you know?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try and put some like I'm gonna zoom way out
Yeah.
and try and put some perspective on this. And it sort of goes back to some of the things I was identifying at the beginning after we read this email, and goes hand in hand with what you were saying about this is just more competition moving into town. So number one, I think aside from a sternly written email to this person, then and I mentioned the whole like kind of on the slide, the down low, you could send the the notice
Takedown
to
request.
his website host. You could do that. That might result in that photo being taken down. I don't know. I don't know. I also don't know if like it's ever disclosed who sent the request,
Yes.
probably
Uh,
easy to figure out
Probably, yes.
in this
Yeah.
situation. But going back to because the next level beyond that is expensive. It's it's lawyers,
Mhm.
right? Lawyers getting involved, and then it becomes this expensive thing for what?
Mhm.
What is the gain here, right?
Mhm.
Like if you have resources and it's like a moral issue, yeah, this is the right thing to do because he stole my intellectual property and he broke this contract and I'm not worried about these lawyer expenses. This is morally the right thing to do. Okay, cool. Do it. But in the real world, if you are concerned with the expenses of what it would cost to do this, not only monetarily, but time-wise, what is your gain,
You're not getting
right?
that student back.
Exactly. You're not getting
Yeah.
that student back.
No.
You are not getting that
Yeah.
student back. And that
Mhm.
ship has sailed. Now, I'm going to zoom out a little further. I think it's telling how, and sure, there's two sides to every story, right? But I think it's telling that how this instructor used to be fantastic, and then life changed for this person. And it seems like they're feeling the pressure of those life changes and priorities shift. And I think we kind of have to respect that. But some of the schedule requests that I heard in this email that the instructor was asking of the studio, if that is because now he is responsible for his own admin, presumably, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
If he is approaching his clients that way, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be like, this guy is a little flaky. He used to be really consistent, but now he's asking us to change times. And now he's like canceling this to do this other thing. I think I just feel like it's going to work itself out. And then zooming out even further, and I get that our friend here, it hurts because he put his faith in this person. And then these are the results, as you were saying, morally, no, he shouldn't have stolen the student. No, he shouldn't have taken the photo. He shouldn't have used the review. That's it's just kind of not cool. But if those are all coming from a position of desperation, I have to assume that our friend here, the studio owner, is not in that same spot. And the amount of energy that it would take to kind of fight this, again, what is going to be the gain? Could that energy be focused on what he's doing at his studio and taking care of his own clients? As hard as it is to just kind of all right, I'm going to brush this one off and just let that person do what they're going to do. I think that perspective is probably important because we don't have the crazy resources to hire lawyers,
No, right. No.
Yeah.
This instructor's been around for 8 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time. This is emotional.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is emotional. Yep.
It's like
we talked about that.
It's like a bad breakup when you don't get closure.
Yeah.
Do you ever really get closure though in a bad breakup?
No, it's not a thing.
No, you have to figure out how to just live with this, the new way of life and put it behind you. Yeah.
It's really hard to do nothing.
It is.
It's really hard to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does make me think about, what episode was it? That when I shared that story about the competitor moving into town and how I handled it poorly, and I realized man, I spent a lot of energy on that and I probably should have been focused on what I was doing.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Like I said, you've got a brick and mortar business. It's and I think, I don't know specifically what this listener situation is, but thinking about here, you and I, he's just teaching private lessons out of his home. I don't mean just he's offering a valuable service to people.
Yes.
But your studio is also offering community and culture and bands, and concerts, and just focus on that.
Yeah.
Keep doing. Yeah.
And our friend here has to make that decision for himself.
Yeah.
But what I would advocate for is maintaining perspective on what he wants to happen, what he wants to gain, and how many resources, what type of resources he wants to put toward this thing that, at best, like you said, he's not going to get that student back. The image thing, maybe he gets it taken down, but he also might have to take it down on his website, that whatever. Similar with the review. Yeah. What kind of time and energy do you want to spend on this? And what could you otherwise be doing with that time and energy?
John, I think you nailed it. You did.
I don't know.
You wouldn't. No, you did. It's because you're so wise. You're so wise. It's all the extra years you have on me, I think.
Maybe. Well, but you are so
what
right.
you're saying, you wouldn't. I'm sorry. You saying you wouldn't even email. You are very much Zoom out.
I
Don't
mean,
even just.
would I email? Maybe. Maybe I would email, but I also would expect that if I email, I'm like, I will never forget this.
Setting your expectations.
I will never forget this. I had a parent who was not happy with one of my policies at one point, and we were having this email exchange back and forth. And at one point she was like, oh, is that how you treat your customers? Something like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, she's just baiting me right now. She's baiting me into like this argument. And when I realized I'm being baited, I was like, all right, we're done. And I just disengaged. That was it. So I think if he does go that route and decides like, I am going to send an email or I'm going to, engage here, he has to know when to cut his losses and not be pulled into a bigger thing than it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yes. I appreciate that a lot.
But you're right. This is super emotional, and I wish our friend the best on that. Hopefully this is helpful.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. I would say, and even like no matter what you do, wait, like take time, make sure you really think about these things. I mean, obviously he's written in but I think when these situations do come up, don't react immediately. That's important.
Yeah.
Take some time for those emotions to settle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, did we do it? Did we anything else? Any other advice?
This was great. No, I think that's good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hang in there because this is, it's a tough one. And any other listeners, if you haven't experienced this, it's relatively common, Hopefully you don't have to. But keep those emails and those messages coming because we love to dig into these and help out when we can.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right.
Cool.
Well, with that, we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, John.
See ya.
Bye.
If you have topic suggestions or questions, please contact us at info@rockschoolproprietor.com. We'd love to hear from you and hear suggestions for future shows. We've put together some free resources for teachers and studio owners over at rockschoolproprietor.com and a private Facebook group called The Modern Music School. Please join us over there. On social, I'm at rock.school.proprietor on Instagram and John Kazicki on both LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify are always appreciated. And if you enjoyed the show and gain insight from our conversation, then we count that as a win. All we ask in return is that you pay it forward and please share the show with someone you think needs to hear it.